copies of written testimony, and I invite your questions.
Thank you. Other questions? Committee? Representative Fargo.
Mr. Chair. Thank you for your testimony. Are you suggesting that this committee is ignorant of the opposition?
Well, not at this point. I think that given the way that things went last week, it's best not to presume either way. I come here and also I email every testimony in order to cover all bases. I don't like taking anything for granted.
Representative Borden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You said, could you repeat what you said about the DES, Department of Environmental Services, being the broker for the funds? I thought this was going to go more to the PUC and the Department of Environmental Services. So I may have misunderstood what you said.
Well, let me tell you where that comes from. I've got a printout of that bill in very small type, and yet it goes on for several pages. And I saw mention of the department. I refer back to the existing language that this adds into, and it seems to me that the Department of Environmental Services is what's being referred to here. Now, given the extremely confusing verbose language of this bill, I could be mistaken. However, we really can't presume anything since this bill is so very confusingly written. Any others?
Representative Garrity.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And I guess that phrase it. Would you be comforted in knowing that your views are not alone? That there's folks in this committee who think this bill might be over the top?
Yes, that's very comforting, and I thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, pass out my written testimony now.
That was fine. Would you bring it forward to the committee? Thank you.
New Hampshire exports more energy than it produces.
Okay, then what was it that fellow from UNH said?
You'd have to ask him.
I mean, you're saying they said that we participate in a market with other states and that if we don't sign on to this agreement, then we'll have to pay the cost without getting the benefits? How can that follow if we have energy independence?
Well, we don't have energy independence. We're part of a regional market. And
we export 50% of our energy.
Right.
How much do we import?
Well, we produce twice as much as we import. I mean, as we consume.
And yet we don't have energy independence thereby?
Energy flows on the grid. It sort of follows the path of least resistance. So how much actually flows in or out at a given point is, it isn't necessarily clear. But as a whole, we generate twice as much in New Hampshire as is consumed.
And yet, despite this fact, still we are required to import energy?
No, we buy energy in the market, our regional market. Most of the energy...
Why do we even need to participate in a regional market?
Well, for reliability.
Reliability. Are we saying that somehow power from out of state will be more reliable than power from in-state?
No. No, we're saying that the more potential sources of power that are connected onto the grid with us, the more reliable the whole grid is. I mean, obviously, it's the reason there is a grid in the first place. I mean, we could all be connected to one generator, but when that generator goes down, we wouldn't have power. So the electricity grid, all the generators are interconnected with all the users, and because not every generator is available all the time, the interconnections allow the system to be more reliable, and there's hardly ever outages.
Well, actually, I have plenty of outages where I am, and they've got nothing to do with the power grid except very near to my house.
Sure,
so, but granting your premise, consider the price we're paying for this. We lose our independence. We're forced into a position where our arms are being twisted to join this carbon offset regional market thing. If resistance is useless, we will be assimilated, or else we'll get ripped off. It seems to me that we'd be better off with slightly less reliable power than having our arms twisted in that way.
Well, that's a policy choice for the legislature in this regard, so we need to go.
Okay, thank you.